Tyler from Aspire Sports. Today's video, I'm going to give you my wide receiver rankings 1 through 12, broken down into tiers. Tomorrow will be 13 through 24, and then Wednesday will be sleepers at the wide receiver position. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the latest content that will help you win your fantasy football leagues. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Wide receiver number 1 for me, Davante Adams. But this is the first tier, and there's going to be 2 players. It's going to be Davante Adams and Tyreek Hill. So if you want to take Tyreek Hill first, I mean, go for it. I think it's very close between these two. Only reason why I give Davante Adams the nudge is because of the touchdowns. You can see 15, 20 touchdowns. No one would be surprised, right? With Tyreek Hill, he still scores a lot of touchdowns himself. This is the last dance, though, in Green Bay. The last dance, possibly the last dance. That's what they said, at least. So I expect fireworks this upcoming season for Green Bay, but if you want to go with Tyreek Hill, totally fine. He can have, 300 yards in one game and 5 touchdowns, and nobody would bat an eye. They'd be like, yeah, that's Tyreek Hill. So if you want to go Tyreek Hill, he's right there as well as wide receiver number 1, but this is the first tier wide receivers. So wide receiver number 1, Davante Adams. Wide receiver number 2, Tyreek Hill, in the same tier. Coming in as wide receiver number 3 for me, Stefon Diggs. And this is a tier that I say is 1B. So we have 1A is Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill, and then this tier is 1B, where if these guys finish as wide receiver number 1, I would not be surprised this upcoming season. Whereas the next group, I'd be surprised. But this group can definitely finish as wide receiver number 1. Stefon Diggs last year was first in targets, yards, and receptions at the wide receiver position. You have DeAndre Hopkins, who was second in all those categories. And then we have Calvin Ridley. There's no more Julio Jones, where last year he proved he can be the alpha wide receiver. Some of his best games were without Julio Jones. Calvin Ridley is one of the best route runners in the NFL, and also he's very good around the goal line, where Julio kind of struggled with that throughout his career. He just wasn't scoring touchdowns, where Calvin Ridley is going to score a lot of touchdowns. He gets heavily targeted down there. So this group of wide receivers could finish as wide receiver number 1. I would not be surprised. That's why they're 1B in my rankings. Coming in as wide receiver number 6 for me, and this starts the next tier, the second tier of wide receivers. So we have 1A, 1B. This is, I guess, the third tier, but tier number 2 of the up-and-coming superstars in the NFL, and that's Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. For me, it's very, very close between Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. You want to flip a coin, go for it. Like these two guys, I had A.J. Brown ahead of Justin Jefferson, and then I changed it back and then put A.J. Brown. It's very close. But I would want one of these two guys over DK Metcalf just because Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, the guys that are lining up across for them wide receiver-wise, are 2 aging wide receivers here. So we have Julio Jones, who's 32 years old. Adam Thielen, I believe, is 31 or 32 years old now. So they're aging where these guys are now the alpha wide receivers in these offense. I mean, obviously, you have Julio Jones. This is the first year with the team. But you have alpha wide receivers where DK Metcalf is an alpha wide receiver, but he still has Tyler Lockett. And as you know, I like Tyler Lockett a lot. Tyler Lockett led this team in targets last year. So DK Metcalf is a superstar wide receiver, but he also has to compete with still a very good Tyler Lockett in his prime at 28 years old. So still there. That's why I would want DK Metcalf last out of these 3 guys, but DK Metcalf over the next group of wide receivers. So this is the true second tiers. Tier number 2 of wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. Coming in as wide receiver number 9, Allen Robinson. And this starts the next tier of wide receivers. So tier number 3. So we have 1A, 1B, tier 2, tier 3 starts off with this group, and it goes past Keenan Allen. So we have Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen. There's going to be a couple more guys at the end of this tier starting up the next video when I do wide receivers 13 through 24, but I just wanted to do the top 12. So there's a couple other guys in this tier. So we have Allen Robinson starts off the tier. He's going to have, regardless of who starts, the best quarterback of his career. So if we have Andy Dalton start, I expect him to start maybe the first week of the season, and then we're going to see Justin Fields take over. But regardless of who starts, this is the best quarterback of his career. Next, we have Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin is an up-and-coming superstar. If he had a better quarterback, he would probably be in the second tier with like Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. But he has Yes, I get a Ryan Fitzpatrick, which is good for him, but also Ryan Fitzpatrick's 39 years old. Like, let's not expect him to go out and be slinging the ball all over the field. I expect him to kind of keep him reined in a little bit, where he's still going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick and still going to test the ball down the field. But Terry McLaurin inside the top 10. And then Amari Cooper, yes, he hasn't practiced. For me, I'm not really concerned. If he doesn't practice in the next couple of weeks, then there's real concern. But for now, he was taken off the PUP list. I expect him to be fine. He'll be practicing in the next couple of weeks here. He's a veteran. Veterans don't always practice a whole lot sometimes, especially when they have little injuries that they're nursing through. So he's going to be completely fine. And this is a team in Dallas that is going to pass the ball a shit ton. He's the first wide receiver off the board for me for Dallas. CeeDee Lamb has definitely moved up a lot for me compared to where I was in the preseason. But now we have Amari Cooper for me is still the first wide receiver that I would want in Dallas. But CeeDee Lamb is a close second. Coming in as wide receiver 12, we have Keenan Allen. Rounding out the order for wide receivers 1 through 12. Not tier 3, though. We still have a couple more wide receivers. That's why check out the next video. So wide receiver number 12, Keenan Allen. We know where we're going to get. PPR machine. Going to see a bunch of targets, a bunch of catches, maybe not a whole lot of yards, but is going to be heavily targeted, especially in an offense with Joe Lombardi as the offense coordinator, where we expect them to pass the ball a lot. So Keenan Allen, rounding out the order. What do you guys think of my top 12? Is there somebody maybe I'm too high on, too low on, maybe somebody that's not in the top 12 that deserves to be there? So let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching and have a great day.